All rise. We will lever. The International Criminal Court is now in session. L'audience de la Cour pénale internationale est ouverte. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Thank you very much. Court officer, please, the case.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
The court officer, thank you, Your Honor. Situation in the Republic of Kenya in the case of the prosecutor versus William Samuel Ruto and Joshua Adap Sang, ICC 0109-0111. We are in open session.
Thank you. Any changes in appearance, Mr. Steinberg?
Morning, Your Honours. No changes for the prosecution.
Thank you. Mr. Naratete?
Morning, Your Honour. The same as before. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Your Honour. Mr. Sang's team remains the same.
Thank you. Ms. Alexandra?
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honours. For the Ruto team, we are joined by Ms. Charlene Njera.
That's the only change.
Yes, Your Honour.
Thank you very much. First, the Chamber's ruling on Mr. Khan's request of yesterday. Request is granted to the extent that Mr. Ruto is excused for Thursday and Friday, but he will return for Monday and Tuesday.
I'm most grateful.
Thank you. We will witness welcome back, and Mr. Kenevas, we also... no. Are you there? Sorry, I do not see you.
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
We note your appearance on the record. Now, we are in open session. Mr. Steinberg?
Your Honours, we may continue in open session for a while.
All right, witness, welcome back. Mr. Steinberg will continue questioning you. In a moment, I'll ask him how much longer he intends to be with you. But in the meantime, I want to remind you of the advice I gave you yesterday to listen carefully to the question that is asked of you. Make sure you understand it. Once you understand the question, answer just that question. Give the answer that is required, strictly required by the question, and nothing more. If the answer requires yes or no, just say yes or no. Somebody asked you again, witness, are you sitting down? The answer should be yes. Not to say yes and you start explaining why somebody should know that you are sitting down. Just yes or no, if that is what is called for by the question. Stop there and let the questioner ask you any additional question if the answer you gave is not enough. If they ask you the additional question, again, answer it as simply as possible and stop and wait for the next question. That is how we do it in an efficient manner. Do you understand?
No, question.
The witness, I understand.
Thank you. Mr. Steinberg, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honours. Good morning, Mr. Witness.
Si, Jambo.
The witness, good morning.
Mr. Witness, if you remember when we finished off yesterday afternoon, we were just clarifying certain things that were said by Mr. Ruto at a Harambee on or about the 15th of October 2007. Do you recall that?
Nakumbuka.
Answer, yes, I remember.
Mr. Steinbeck, hold on, please. I promised to ask you how long you intend to be with the witness.
Yes, thank you, Your Honours, for the reminder. Unfortunately, yesterday things were proceeding far slower than I had hoped. Perhaps with Your Honours' advice this morning to the witness, we might see more swift progress. But at the rate we were proceeding yesterday, I don't anticipate that I would be finished before sometime on Thursday morning. I will, of course, try to hurry it up. I will try to focus on the most important issues. Unfortunately, there is a lot of material to cover with this witness. He's made a number of previous statements that I'm probably going to have to deal with, and I do expect at a certain stage to have to make an application, the nature of which Your Honours will appreciate. So my present estimate is Thursday morning.
Noted. We will try and move it along so that we hope to be done before that time. You're an experienced lawyer, so I'm sure you know how to approach matters, whether to move on with certain lines of question, and also what matters may have been covered by other witnesses. Proceed.
I'm grateful, Your Honours.
Your Honours, if I may, just for a minute, make a very humble suggestion, is that could we possibly even see whether we could proceed for some parts in English? Because yesterday one of the issues we did have was the translation that was going through.
Let's revisit that question later, if possible, in the format in which we discussed that sort of question yesterday. You know what I mean. Mr. Steinbeck, proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Witness, when we finished off yesterday, you had told the Chamber that Mr. Ruto had made references to a place called Kimayo and had asked the question, is there any Kimayo in Central? Do you remember that?
Nakumbuka.
Sir, I remember.
And you clarify that Kimayo is a place located in Nandi and Marakwet country. Is that correct?
Sio mahali, lakini ni jina ya mtu.
Answer, it's not a place. It's the name of a person. These are names that are found amongst the Nandi community and within the Marakwet community.
I see. And what did you understand Mr. Ruto to be trying to convey when he said, is there any Kimayo in Central? What was the meaning of all this?
Ni kwamba Wakikuyu wamekuja kwetu na
Answer, it's to say that the Kikuyu came to our area and don't want us Nandi, to go live where they live in Central. So they want us to give them our votes.
Thank you.
Nous sommes en audience publique.
The court officer, we are in open session.
Thank you. Mr. Steinberg.
Thank you, Your Honours. Mr. Witness, I'd like to return to my earlier question, which was related not so much to you but to other people. So, can you tell us whether you witnessed any incidents in or around Turbo in which other persons were threatened because they were PNU supporters or Kikuyu?
nilishuhudia.
Answer, I saw some of those things.
Please tell us what you saw.
Vijana walikuwa wako kwa wanabebwa kwa matrakta magari.
Answer, some young people were taken, transported by tractor, and they were calling out, shouting, saying, the Kikuyu and all those who support PNU must start traveling, must be on their way. That was the day after the elections.
And what was the ethnicity of these young people?
Nandi.
Answer, they were Nandi.
And to whom did the tractor belong, do you know?
Kwa sasa sikumbuki, lakini kuna
Answer, well, right now I don't remember, but I do remember that there was a vehicle that belonged to someone by the name of Tomaini. It was a pickup kind of vehicle, and as for the other vehicles, I don't remember.
To be honest, if I may at this point, what we heard from the Swahili interpretation was the witness said this was happening before the elections and not after. So if this could be clarified, it may be helpful.
Yes, thank you, Your Honours. I'm grateful to my learned friend. Did you say this happened before or after the elections, Mr. Witness? Can you remember the date?
ni kabla ya uchaguzi.
Answer, before the elections.
Do you recall the date when this happened?
Sikumbuki tarehe, lakini ilikuwa ni siku chache baada ya
Answer, I don't remember the day, but it was a few days after the meeting that was held on the 15th.
Are you referring to the Harambee on the 15th of October 2007?
ndio.
Answer, yes.
All right. You say you don't recall who the tractor belonged to. Did you tell the investigators when you made your statement who that tractor belonged to, sir?
Sikumbuki, lakini kuna uwezekano.
Sir, I don't remember, but I might have said it.
Be honest, there's a name appearing at page 9, lines 13. If you could have that cleared up for the record.
What line did she say? Yes, I'll come to that as well, Your Honours. I'd like to show you your statement dated 10th to the 14th of July, to see if that refreshes your memory.
Be honest, there is a name on the record. Perhaps that should be cleared first.
All right, we'll get to that as well. I was going to do them both at the same time, but you mentioned a name earlier that the pickup belonged to a certain person. Can you repeat that name?
Huyo mtu hayuko kwa list.
Answer. The name of that person is not on the list.
That's fine. You can just give us a name, please, sir.
Sio jina yake, lakini ni jina ya kupandikwa.
Answer. That's not his name. It's Tumaini. That's his nickname.
All right, just to get that from the record, you said Tumaini. Is that Tumaini?
Ni hivyo.
And
Answer. Yes, that's right.
before I get to show you your statement, where were these youths being transported on the tractor and on the pickup?
Pickup ilikuwa ndogo, ama niseme vijana walikuwa wengi. Sasa
Answer. There were a great many of these youth. It was impossible to take them all in that pickup.
Do you know where they were going?
ndio.
Yes.
Please tell us.
Walikuwa wakizunguka tu hapo Tarbo mjini.
They were walking about in Turbo rather, city.
Which party were they supporting, these youths?
Chama cha ODM.
The ODM party.
Right. Returning then to the issue of the owner of the tractor.
Mr. Steinberg, is it a tractor or a pickup? Is there a difference, and does it matter?
Your Honours, I have an understanding, but perhaps I should ask the witness so I don't lead him. Mr. Witness, you've mentioned a tractor and you've mentioned a pickup. Was this a correction, or were there two vehicles that you saw?
Niliona pickup na tractor.
I saw a pickup and a tractor.
All right, relating to the tractor, Mr. Court Officer, can you please call up KenOTP 00290131 at page 0139.
Do we have a bundle?
Yes, thank you, Your Honours. Court will bear with me. It's number 1 in the first bundle, Your Honours. First tab in the first bundle. This is the statement that was referred to yesterday.
The document is being displayed, page 0131.
Can you please display page 0139, Mr. Court Officer? The witness has already identified this document.
page is being displayed right now.
Has he identified this document, Mr. Steinberg?
My understanding was that I showed this to the document to the witness yesterday.
In what context?
In a memory refreshing context, Your Honours, but I see my learned friend rising. I might be mistaken.
I recall it was the document in tab 2, Mr. President.
That seems to be my own recollection as well.
Apologise, Your Honours. Mr. Witness, do you see the initials at the bottom of that page? Without reading them out, do you recognise those initials?
Naitambua.
Yes, I do recognize it.
And Mr. Court Officer, can we just please call up page 0132? And Mr. Witness, when that page is up, I'll ask you to identify the signature in the middle of that page, please.
Ni sawa.
The witness, that's fine.
Is that your signature, sir?
Ndio, ni sahihi yangu.
Yes, it is my signature.
And if you look at the top of the page, there's some dates. Can you confirm this is a statement you made to the OTP from the 10th to the 14th of July 2010?
Ndio.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Court Officer, can we please return then to the previous page, 0139? Your Honours, while that's being done, I note Your Honours' request that documents be admitted as they're referred to, but I think it's premature to admit documents that are simply used for memory refreshing. If it becomes necessary, I will do so at a later stage.
You're interested in 0139?
Yes, Your Honour, specifically paragraph 51.
But witness, can you look at the bottom of that page? Is that your initial? Do you see your initial on the page that the court officer will show you?
Ndio, ni yangu.
Yes, it is my signature.
Mr. Witness, please read paragraph 51 and tell us if that refreshes your memory as to who the tractor belonged to.
Nimeisoma.
I've read it.
And who did the tractor belong to, sir? You can use the PIS.
Ni namba 17.
To the person at number 17.
Thank you, sir. All right, I'd like to move on then to a different matter. Just 1 second.
But can I ask that the document be taken off the screen, please?
Yes, Ms. Korsoffer, please remove the document.
Document has been removed. The only document that remains is the PN.
Perhaps just before I move away, these youth that were traveling around on these vehicles, you said they were addressing the people and telling people that didn't support. Well, let me find your exact words. Shouting, saying the Kikuyu and all those who support the PNU must start traveling, must be on their way, from page 9. How are they making themselves heard to the people in Turbo?
Samahani, naomba urudie.
Witness, I'm sorry. Would you please kindly repeat your question?
How are these youths conveying their messages? How are they conveying the message to the crowds around them, to the people around them?
Uoga ilianza kuingia wa Kikuyu na Wanande pia wale wacha.
The Kikuyu were frightened, as well as Nandi supporters of the PNU.
I think I'm going to move on, Your Honours.
Your Honours, I think the witness didn't understand the question. Perhaps in fairness, the question should be repeated.
If the prosecutor wants to do that.
Your Honours, I'm mindful of the advice you gave me this morning of knowing when to leave something and move on, and I think we spent enough time on this incident. Mr. Witness, can you recall an occasion, and I don't think this will be in dispute, where political parties had to present their nomination papers to the Electoral Commission of Kenya, the ICC? Do you recall that event?
Kuna neno sikuisikia vizuri. Na naomba urudi.
You used a word which I did not quite understand when you were asking your question. Please kindly repeat your question.
All right. Prior to the elections in 2007, is it correct that the political parties had to nominate their candidates and inform the Electoral Commission who their candidates would be?
Hivyo.
Witness, yes.
And is it correct that this was done by parties handing in papers with the names of their candidates to the Electoral Commission officials?
Hivyo.
Yes, that's correct.
Do you remember the date when this took place?
Ilikuwa ni tarehe 14 mwezi wa 12 ya mwaka.
It was on the 14th of December 2007.
Where were you on that date, Mr. Witness?
Ilikuwa Eldoret town.
I was in Eldoret town.
And on that date, sir, did you attend any meetings?
Sikuhudhuria mkusanyiko wowote, labda mpaka wakati wa jioni.
The witness, I did not attend any meeting, but towards the evening, when Ruto was addressing his supporters, I was nearby and I was able to hear what was going on.
And where did that take place, that Mr. Ruto was addressing his supporters?
Eldoret municipality ground.
It was at the Eldoret municipality grounds.
Mr. Witness, did you ever make any statement to the effect that you attended a meeting on the 14th of December 2007?
Nakumbuka nikisema.
Yes, I remember that I said so.
Did you say so to the prosecution, sir, in your first statement?
Nilisema kwa wachunguzi, sio prosecutor.
Yes, I said so to the investigators, not to the prosecutor.
I know where my learned friend is going with this, but the witness has not seemed to have said he has forgotten anything about whether or not he attended a meeting. So if we're going to do a memory refreshing exercise, then we object to that.
It's a different application.
No, Your Honours, I'm not going to do a memory refreshing exercise. I'm placing on record what is effectively a recantation of this version.
Is it? I thought the next question would be, once he said to remember, then the question would be, what is it? Did he attend the meeting or not? Then we'll take it from there.
That was, in fact, where I'm going, yes. What meeting did you tell the investigators you attended on that date?
Mr. President, I do apologise. I do object. Your Honour, there's only two. We must, in our respectful submission, maintain some kind of procedural consistency. The Malone friend has a right to examine in accordance with the rules. Your Honours, in relation to previous statements, there's two options. One is an application to refresh his memory in the event, and only in the event, that the witness says that he doesn't remember, and Your Honours decide that in those circumstances, and notwithstanding witness preparation, he should be entitled to see the statement or the transcript previously made. The other is if the prosecution seek to impugn the credibility of the witness that they themselves have called, in which case an application for hostility is the appropriate way, and that must be done in the normal fashion, not by the back door, by stealth, but properly, and that is not happening.
No. Let's watch our language. Let's not bring in backdoor and stealth. Make your submission as a matter of factual submission. Let's avoid characterizations.
Your Honour, the prosecution do not have a right, in our respectful submission, to start cross-examining a witness in relation to matters that the witness has not, that have not been elicited in the proper fashion. The prosecution, the witness's testimony was very clear in relation to the 14th of December 2007, that he, in the evening, heard a portion of what Mr. Ruto is said to have said on that day. For the prosecution, out of nowhere, to cross-examine the witness and lead him, either it's leading or it's cross-examination, to refer him back to something previously said when the witness has not raised that under oath in evidence, is improper. So, Your Honour, the question was not permissible in our respectful submission. If the prosecution wish to raise matters that were said previously by the witness, there's a way to do it, but it can't be mixed to evidence in chief. It's completely inappropriate.
Let's break it down. What exactly was the run of question that you're objecting to? So we are all on the same page.
Your Honour, the objection was the prosecution.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wonder if the feed could be cut off first to the witness before my learned friend continues. I don't think it's appropriate that the witness listens to this debate.
That's a good observation. Let's cut the feed to the remote location. And then Mr. Ken, just as a matter of fact, frame by frame, put the question or the questions the prosecutor asked and what's wrong with them.
Mr. President, I'll wait for the green light from the court officer.
And the remote location is the feed cut?
Mr. President, I have lowered the volume. The witness is not able to hear what is being said. Only counsel and myself can follow the debates.
Thank you.
I'm grateful. Mr. President, I note that my learned friend himself was the first to raise the word recantation. It came from the lips of the prosecution, not from the defence. But what was completely inappropriate, we say, is page 16, line 8. Mr. Witness, did you ever make any statement to the effect you attended a meeting on 14 December 2007? Yes, I remember that I said so. What was the prosecution trying to do? They were clearly setting the witness up for an application for hostility, trying to get in, we say inappropriately, a previous inconsistent statement to impugn the evidence under oath. Now, Your Honour, my learned friend can make an application and will respond to that application holistically, because we say this, particularly in this case, where the witness has undergone many hours of witness preparation, and for almost a month in July 2014 was extensively interviewed by the prosecution and has given a narrative. It's not like previous applications. Your Honour, the prosecution should have asked the witness his evidence.
All right, let me stop you. Look at line 2 at page 16. Line 2. The answer was, first the question, line 1. Quote, and on that date, sir, did you attend any meetings? That's a question. And then the answer, I did not attend any meeting, but towards the evening when Ruto was addressing his supporters, I was nearby and I was able to hear what was going on, unquote.
Indeed. And if the prosecution were conducting matters in what we say is the normal way, they would say, well, what happened at that event What did you hear Mr. Ruto saying? How many people were present? What was your proximity to Mr. Ruto? Can you remember what he said? Your Honour, the reality is belied by the prosecution injecting in the next question, did you ever make any statement to the effect you attended a meeting on 14th of December 2007? Why were the prosecution doing that? Your Honour, it's obvious in our respectful submission. It's absolutely obvious. The prosecution were trying to get in a statement and a narrative which this witness has repudiated, not in some unknown affidavit.
All right, let's stop. Mr. Steinberg, so we don't, as I said earlier, in this chamber we try to avoid procedural rigmarole if there is no point to it. What are you interested in? Are you interested in the witness attending a meeting as such? Or are you interested in whether anything was said by anybody on any particular occasion?
Your Honours, what I'm interested in is to find out whether the witness is standing by or departing from a version which he gave to the prosecution earlier.
Does the version matter? Again, remember, we're interested in procedure, fighting questions of procedure, standing on versions. If what really should be the issue is the substance. Are you interested in the witness having attended a meeting or a version that he gave earlier, or are you interested that now the witness is on the stand for the witness to tell us whether or not he heard anything?
Your Honours, if I can answer it this way. On a previous occasion, when I requested a witness permission to cross-examine a witness and the witness to be declared hostile, my learned friend stood up and objected at length, saying that the proper procedure was first to establish with that witness whether what he had said in his previous statement was false or correct. And I was obliged to go through that statement, paragraph by paragraph virtually, to establish which parts of the statement were true and which parts were correct. I was on the cusp of establishing whether or not something the witness had previously said to the prosecution was correct or not, which would then have led to another procedure, and I would have asked the chamber for permission to confront that witness with his earlier statement to establish the contradiction. And from there on, the ultimate objective would be, at the appropriate time, to make an application to have this witness declared hostile. But, Your Honours, my respectful submission is that the objection is premature. We haven't even got to that yet. But
maybe we can go beyond that argument by you answering the question I asked you. Are you interested in the witness having attended a meeting as such, or are you interested in the witness having heard something? Here the witness is saying whether or not he attended a meeting. And if that's important to you, you may pursue it. But if what's more important is the witness having said, quote, towards the evening when Ruto was addressing his supporters, I was nearby and I was able to hear what was going on, unquote. I do not know whether that's what's of interest to your case, or whether you want to insist on placing the witness at a meeting that he attended. I'm not cutting you off. I just want to know what the issue is so that we know where we go from here.
Thank you, Your Honours. I think I understand now. My interest is the latter. Whatever the witness has to say now about the events of the evening, the event I'm interested in is a different event at a different occasion at a different time. When I asked the witness, did he attend any meetings, he says, I did not attend any meetings, and then he starts to tell us about what happened in that evening. I'm interested in an earlier event which the witness now appears to be saying he did not attend.
You are interested in the meeting, or whether witness was somewhere and heard Mr. Ruto saying something?
Yes, Your Honours, I'm interested in a version that the witness gave previously, that he was at another meeting at a different location on that date and heard Mr. Ruto say certain things and do certain things.
All right. I'm still not clear where we stand, Mr. Steinberg. Is it something you can pursue from the latter part? Is it possible, and really the issue is resolved by, for now, by you exploring what appears at line 2, the latter part of line 2? Quote, towards the evening when Ruto was addressing his supporters, I was nearby and I was able to hear what was going on. Don't you just explore that and we see where we go?
Your Honours, I'm happy to do so. I don't think I can't see how it's going to solve my dilemma, but I'm happy to do so, and we can take it from there.
I think so. Let's begin with that, and then if you want to return to the matter of a meeting, as I said, I'm not stopping you if that is important to your case, but maybe we should deal with this first and see where we go from here.
As court pleases.
Court officer, you can bring back the witness. What I mean by that is you can let him in on the proceedings in terms of the audio.
Yes, Mr. President, the witness can hear the debates again.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Witness. I'd like to clarify something you said before we got involved in legal discussions. You mentioned that on the evening of the 14th of December, you were nearby when Mr. Ruto addressed his supporters, and you heard what he said. Tell us, please, what it is that Mr. Ruto told his supporters on that occasion.
Aliambia wafuasi wake kwamba
Answer, he said to his supporters that they were not ignorant and were not part of the government that was to be reformed. He also said that it was possible that the PNU party might be preparing to steal votes, and for them that was not going to be acceptable. And he said that it would be a good thing if for each Kikuyu after the elections, no matter what party might win, be it ODM or PNU, that they pack up their things and go home along with all of those people who supported the PNU. I believe those were the points that I still remember.
Thank you. And besides that speech that Mr. Ruto made in the evening to his supporters in Eldoret, did you attend any other meetings that day?
hapana.
Answer, no.
And did you hear Mr. Ruto speak at any other occasion on that day?
Hapana.
Answer, no.
Thank you. Your Honours, then perhaps we should do things more formally. May I request permission to confront this witness with a prior inconsistent statement on this issue?
Ms. Alexandra.
Yes, I'm not clear whether my learned friend wants to confront the witness on a particular issue or to refresh his memory. The proceeding may be different.
Mr. Steinberg, let's begin with refreshing memory, and then if memory is not refreshed, then we move to the next step.
Very well, Your Honours. Mr. Witness, I'm going to ask you to look at something that you told the prosecution earlier in the statement you saw earlier today. For the record, Your Honours, it's Ken OTP 00290131. And if I can ask the court officer to call up page 0140.
Page is being displayed at paragraph 54.
Mr. Witness, can you please start by confirming, are those your signatures at the bottom of that page? I mean, your initials, I beg your pardon.
Hakikisha kuwa ni yangu.
Answer, I confirm that those are my initials.
And can I ask you please then to read through paragraphs 54 to 58, and please let us know when you're finished.
Mr. President, while that's been done, can I address the bench, perhaps if the microphone in the remote location could be turned off?
Mr. Ken, we don't want you intervening. You have to decide whether you two, you are the counsel on duty for this witness, or it's Ms. Alexandra.
Mr. President,
we have to have some order.
Indeed. Mr. President, on this issue, I will be addressing Your Honours.
We don't want to split it, one person at a time. So let there be some orderliness. You can consult with your colleague and confer with her, and then she can make submissions. But I do not want a situation where we have two lawyers.
Mr. President, I'm grateful.
Yes. Mr. Steinberg?
Thank you, Mr.
Your Honor, no, I apologise. Dato Shamla Alexandra will be making the application, so we do ask that the sound be turned off for the remote location while the bench can be addressed.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, I understand now. Let's, Mr. Court Officer at the remote location, could you switch off the sound for the witness?
Yes, Mr. President, the witness cannot hear the debates. Sound has been cut off.
Thank you. Ms. Alexandra?
Your Honor, we're still not clear on the procedure that's being followed because this witness has not said that he has forgotten about any meeting he attended prior to what he's just explained that he saw take place in a field. And for that reason, Your Honor, we object to this process which my learned friend is calling memory refreshing.
Objection overruled.
Thank you, Your Honours. For the record, I didn't call it memory refreshing. I had made an application to confront the witness.
Yes, you did. You did, and the Chamber's ruling is that it is more appropriate first for you to see if the witness's memory may be refreshed. If that is the case, it is for a witness to, having looked at something, to say, I stand by what I said earlier.
As the court pleases. If we may return then to the remote location.
It's also a matter of fairness to a witness that witnesses who come to court are not confronted in cross-examination by the party that calls them at every opportunity. So it is fair first to see whether the problem the witness was facing was a problem of having forgotten what was said earlier, or whether a witness genuinely says, I was wrong on the earlier occasion, now what I'm telling the court, now that I'm under oath, is the position.
Yes, thank you, Your Honour. I do take to heart that advice. In present procedure, in present circumstances, as my learned friend has already alluded to, there are reasons to believe from later statements made by this witness that memory refreshing may not help, but I'm happy to take it one step at a time.
Yes.
Mr. Witness, can you hear me again?
Witness, are you with us?
Ninawasikia.
The witness, I hear you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Witness. Having read through those paragraphs I referred you to a few minutes ago, does that refresh your memory on whether or not you attended a different meeting on the 14th of December 2007?
Hapo ninakumbuka hiyo mkutano haikuweko.
Answer. I remember that that meeting was not held, and if I had understood, perhaps this is something from the prosecutor.
I'm sorry, I don't follow your answer. What do you mean this is something from the prosecutor?
Witness, what is the situation? The prosecutor's question to you earlier, before you were shown the document, was whether you had attended a meeting on the 14th of December 2007, at which Mr. Ruto had spoken, other than the event you testified to earlier, where you said in the evening you happened to be nearby. Wait. And heard Mr. Ruto say something. Next question was whether, apart from that other event, had you attended any other meeting on the 14th? of December 2007? Your answer was no. And then your previous statement was shown to you, paragraphs 54 to 58. You have read them. Now, having read those paragraphs, what is your position? You are now before the judges and you're telling us, you're giving us your direct evidence. What is the position? Did you attend any other meeting on the 14th of December 2007 or not?
La.
No.
Mr. Steinberg, take it from there.
Thank you, Your Honours. However, I should advise the Chamber and advise Council that we are getting into an area where Rule 74 may be engaged. This might be an appropriate juncture to move into private session.
We move into private session then.
All rise. We will be. Please be seated. If we use a swap.
Thank you very much. Welcome back, witness. We're in open session. Mr. Steinberg, please continue.
Mr. President, I do apologise. Before that's done, with your leave, Mr. Ruto would like to address the bench on the issue of translation for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President, Your Honours. I would, as a person who understands Kiswahili and English very well, and having studied Kiswahili all the way to secondary school, I have seen the translation that is going on here, and Mr. President, the translation is really bad. In fact, part of the reason why you can't make head or tail of what the witness is saying is contributed to a very great extent by the Kiswahili translation. And therefore, and partly it is because the Kiswahili translation is coming from our brothers from Congo.
All right, Mr. Ruto, let's leave it at that. We've noted your point. Your point is that the Kiswahili is it's not good enough.
What I was saying, Mr. President, is in East Africa there are shades of Kiswahili.
All right, let's thank you for the information.
I would really, in fact, looking at it, the witness's English is far better than the Kiswahili translation.
We've noted your observation on the record, and Mr. KenyaMOJA from time to time has also assisted in making certain corrections on the matter. Mr. Steinberg, proceed.
Thank you, Your Honours. I believe my learned friend, Mr. Katwa, wanted to address certain issues, and there's also a spelling correction I need to make as well.
Would you like me to do that in the open session, Mr. President?
Let's go to private session.
All rise. We will lever. Please be seated. We use a swap.
Thank you very much. We are in open session. Mr. Canavas, we understand you put in a request to address the chamber.
Yes, Your Honor. If we could go into private session just to be on the safe side.
Private session.
Nous sommes en audience publique.
The court officer, we are in open session.
Thank you very much. The chamber is ruling on the prosecution application. The prosecutor applied to declare the witness now giving evidence as a hostile witness. And the chamber has had submissions of the parties and participants. The chamber recalls that in the ruling on the 8th of September 2014, the chamber had noted that the classic definition of a hostile or adverse witness, which definition has to all intents and purposes been accepted into the stream of international criminal practice, is that a hostile witness is a witness who is not desirous of telling the truth to the court at the instance of the calling party. The chamber considered on that occasion that an application founded on that complaint by the calling party is an instrument of justice to the effect that without the remedy being sought, a criminal court may never get at the truth. And in the ruling of the 8th of September 2014, the chamber considered that such a complaint must be based on objective factors, and the chamber outlined those factors. They include: 1, whether the witness has been hostile in general demeanor; 2, whether there is an impression of evasiveness on the part of the witness; 3, whether the testimony of the witness before the court has been in whole or in part deliberately or systematically inconsistent with a prior statement; if I may pause to point out that in a subsequent ruling, the chamber clarified that in this respect, the inconsistency must be in relation to the material issue or issues before the court. And I continue with factors. And the 4th factor indicated by the chamber was whether the witness has become systematically adverse against the calling party by not only deliberately impugning the credibility of the case of the calling party, but also by appearing systematically to support the case of the party opposed in interest to the calling party. And the chamber indicated that these factors are not exhaustive. We also wish to clarify that they are not cumulative. The prosecutor has now argued centrally in relation to this witness that it is the third factor that is implicated mostly, and that is whether the testimony of the witness before the chamber has been in whole or in part, deliberately or systematically inconsistent with the prior statement. In that regard, we need to revert back to that factor to point out that it does say in whole or in part. In that regard, the chamber notes that necessarily the question whether or not the particular witness is telling the truth, where that arises, is an issue in the case, must take its bearing from the undertaking or oath of the witness at the inception of the testimony. For the court, for this chamber, the undertaking is prescribed in Rule 66, sub 1, which every witness has had to give before starting the testimony. And that undertaking is, quote, "I solemnly declare that I will speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth," unquote. The essence of the prosecutor's submission is that, yes, whereas the witness may have spoken the truth, according to the prosecutor, that the witness has not spoken the whole truth and nothing but the truth. It is on that basis that, or against that background rather, that one must appreciate the third factor, which is whether the testimony of the witness before the court has been in whole or in part, deliberately or systematically inconsistent with the prior statement. Having considered the matter, the chamber is satisfied that that factor has been met in this case, and the prosecutor's application is granted.
As court pleases, Your Honour. Thank you. May I ask the witness be brought back into the remote location?
Yes, court officer, bring back the witness. Thank you. Now, Mr. Steinberg, we are in open session. Shall we remain in open or go into private session?
Your Honours, my concern is that the answers to my questions may well implicate the witness in Rule 74 issues.
So we go into private session?
Unfortunately,
yes.
I think we have to.